Welcome to the MMHP in the 989, channeling all styles and eras of Michigan music history. Recorded live inside the Rock Legends Hall of Fame in Bay City, Michigan. Featuring Dr. J, Sir Fred, Mr. Mike, and your host, Scott Baker.
Okay, welcome everybody. Tonight's guest is Malcom Cottle. He's a curator at the Sloan Museum in Flint, a drummer with the rock band Freemont Pike, also a videographer who shot the Madonna documentary that we did here at the for the Historical Museum of Bay County. So, Malcom, welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me today.
All right. Well, let's start right out at the beginning here. Where were you born? Were you a Michigander?
No, I'm from Ontario originally. I was born in Stratford, Ontario.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then made my way over here for undergrad is what kind of brought me to Michigan. So.
Okay. Well, Stratford, of course, is famous for the plays, the Shakespeare plays, and so on.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of good music has come out of Stratford, I'd say, over the years, too.
I remember seeing Procol Harum when they were doing their tour with the symphony orchestras at Stratford. It was wonderful.
Cool.
So, was music important when you were growing up?
Ooh, a bit of a loaded question. But yeah, my dad has actually been a radio DJ for the last... getting on 40 years now. So that's kind of what he's always done. So there was just always music playing in my house. So I grew up with a lot of classic rock being played in the house. I find I know it all, but I don't necessarily know the titles or the artists. But like most like classic rock music, I just know by ear. With my dad being in radio, yeah, he has a very, very eclectic taste. So he's been on a bit of a Zappa kick as of recent. But he's, really kind of listens to a little bit of everything, a lot of jazz, a lot of Elvis, a lot of Beatles, a lot of, just kind of general classic rock as well. Your AC/DC, your Led Zeppelin, all that kind of fun stuff. But he played a little guitar, and my mom played a little bit of piano, but they weren't, I don't think they'd call themselves musicians, just music appreciates. But I really kind of wanted to get into music at a younger age because I saw a fire truck red drum kit in the window of my local guitar or music store shop. And so I pointed at it and I was like, I want to do that. What's that? And they were like, oh, drumming. And so I was very fortunate to then get that kit in pieces from my grandmother for Christmas, and that started me on my kind of musician journey.
Well, what age was this when you were desiring to be a drummer?
It was right around 10 or 12, something around there. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, it was like 10 or 12, I think.
Boy, that was the dream growing up. I mean, you really didn't have to buy any records either. I mean, your dad probably brought all this music home and you got to listen to it.
Yeah, when the CD burners came out, my dad was very excited because he got a CD burner and then he would just go to the library and, rent CDs from the library, bring them home, burn a copy. So we almost had like no originals in the house for a long time. They were all just like my dad's chicken scratch on these burnable CDs that he would get from Staples or whatever. So, but yeah, a lot of music always playing in the house. And now, my dad collected vinyl when he was young and obviously went very much to compact disc for most of his music listening. But now he's back into the vinyl revolution. So the vinyl collection is exploding at my parents' house, much to my mother's chagrin.
Is he a DJ in Canada?
Yeah, in Stratford, Ontario.
What's the station?
So originally it was 1240 CJCS, and then they got bought out by a Vista radio out of Toronto. So then they were Moose FM for a minute.
Okay.
And then they added, and he was originally on AM, and then he went to FM. And then we moved out of Stratford for about 3 years and then came back, and then he got back into the radio for a while. So now they've rebranded again back to CJCS, but it's FM now. So he's on CJCS FM 107.7, I think is the call sign, if I'm not mistaken.
And how many years has he done it now?
It's got to be getting. It's in the 30s. I don't know exactly when, but that was his first. Like he went to college for radio out of high school, and then worked in Timmins for a little while at his first radio station, and then came back to Stratford. So he's a born and raised Stratfordite. So I would say it's somewhere in the upper 30s now that he's been in radio.
What's something that you remember of your dad on the radio that maybe he broke a song, or did he do anything cool that just stuck out in your mind?
He was the creative director for a little while, and so he would always have his shifts in the evening, which was so we would like spend time with my mom and then like listen to the radio because she was a teacher, so she taught French for 34 years. So she her job ended at 3:30. If she had an after school program, even then she was home by like 4:35. And I just remember my dad always had a call sign that he ended all of his evening shows with, which was just to say hello to me and my sisters. What was it? Barb, Malcolm, Vivian, and Ghislaine. I'm on my way. And that's how we ended every show. And so we would stay up and listen to that call sign, and you'd be like, well, I'm Jamie Cottle, and that's all for me tonight here on, 1240 CJCS, Barb, Malcolm, Vivian, and Ghislaine. I'm on my way.
That's beautiful.
And that was his little sign off.
Cool.
Yeah, that's really
Thank
neat.
you for sharing that.
Yeah, that always sticks out in my mind.
Well, yeah, I would see why. Were there any particular bands or drummers that were a big inspiration to you in playing?
Oh, that's a long list, is it not? Yeah, I mean, my dad obviously got me into Rush and was like, "Okay, Malcolm, if you're gonna play the drums, you gotta listen. You gotta learn from the doctor," as they say. Neil Peart was a huge influence, kind of growing up, and then from there, I kind of got really into Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater. He was a really early influence. The Rev from Avenged Sevenfold was probably one of the first like contemporary drummers I really got into. That kind of influenced my style and the way I was playing. Those are kind of some of the few early on influences, but as I got older too, it was more about like drummers kind of in and around my own age that I was kind of either competing with or trying to be like as good as in the scene type thing. But I think early on, those were some of the drummers that I really were attracted to. Prog music in general too. Like I really liked drummers that were flashy, that showed off, that could, do something that you were like, what was that? And it wasn't until much, much later that I really found an appreciation for someone like Ringo Starr, who, has really interesting parts, but they're subtle, and they really serve the music. And it took me a while to learn how to be a drummer that served the music and not just myself.
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of great drummers out there, but coming through at your age, I could see that totally. Like there's so many.
Yeah, well, you're young. You just want to play fast. Like you just want to play 64th notes all over the kit. And it takes a while for you to kind of mature and slow down and realize that like groove is just as important as speed or anything like that. So
Now, were you playing in bands back in Stratford then?
yeah, I joined my first band right before grade 9, and it was a band called Short Circuit. With two, it was a guy I met in camp. His name is Emmett O'Reilly. He's now in the band Pew Pew Pew, which is a pretty well-known band, and they tour the U.S., Canada, and in Europe now. But I met him through a camp, and then he just invited me over one day to jam because he found out I could play the drums, and we played some Sum 41 covers, and it was a lot of fun. And so he introduced me to a friend of his, Travis Jakes, and then we ended up forming this band called Short Circuit, and that band was around for about 2 years, and then we decided we needed a name change because we were originally very punky, and then we got into metal a lot more, so we decided we needed a more metal name. So we rebranded ourselves to Deny the Threat, and
there you go.
yeah. So it was a much more metal name.
That's right.
We still had the kind of the punky influence, but definitely that was kind of more of a metal turn. So that band was kind of grade 11 and 12 and lasted until I think like just after second year of university, because we all like went to university, but then when we come home for the summer or for the Christmas break or anything like that, it was just show. So it was very much a performance band. We did a lot of studio stuff, but it was mainly about performance. And we did.
Where did you play? I mean, what kind of venues were available to kids that are in high school?
There weren't a ton in Stratford, but there was a lot of like band support at that time. So there was a lot of Battle of the Bands. Honestly, that's where we played a lot. We did a lot of Battle of the Bands competitions and won some pretty stellar ones too.
Where would those be held?
So the Kiwanis Center, there was a Kiwanis Center in Stratford that you could like rent to play shows. And so there was a festival called the Winterfest. So they would host an annual Battle of the Bands that was sponsored by Law McQuaid, which is kind of like the Canadian version of Guitar Center. Okay. It's probably just like the biggest like musical retail center. So they would sponsor a Battle of the Bands. A lot of the high schools would host Battle of the Bands. So there was 3 high schools in Stratford. I went to St. Mike's, but there was one at Central that was like annual that we competed in as well. There was a small little internet cafe that we played called Behaven, and it was set up to be like an internet cafe and amateur venue. So we would play there all the time. That we almost had like a residency there. We were playing so often. We played another like cafe that was probably like the best worst show I ever played. It was so hot. It was so tightly packed. There was like 50 people in there and they filled the room. But it was probably the most energetic, most entertaining show we ever played because people were just knocking into the walls. I think someone's hand went through the drywall at that show. Like it was just crazy. And then eventually too, we started, we had to basically go to London or Kitchener, Waterloo, any of those kind of areas to play like real venues. And so we were starting to do that a lot, but then we also kind of doubled back and started just putting on our own shows. So the Stratford Legion, which is kind of like the, what do you call them? What do you call them here? They're not legions. They're
like wedding halls or
like
something
a hall.
like that.
Yeah, it was like a hall. VFW. VFW.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's kind of the closest comparison. Those Legion halls, you could just rent. Like they would just rent to high school kids, or if you had money, they would rent it to you. So we would like get a couple $100 together. We'd rent the Legion, go over to La McQuaid, where we knew people, and we were like, hey, what kind of deal can you give us on a PA system? And we just started putting on our own shows, and our level of success was, did we make enough to put on another show? Yes. Great success. And it was crazy. In Stratford at that time, there was just like, it was not unbelievable to try to get like 50 to 60 people to a show. Like there was just a scene at that point in time where I had a bunch of friends that I only ever saw at shows.
What years was that?
We're talking, I think, like 2007 through 2012-ish.
Okay.
This kind of era where there was just like everyone I knew was in a band. It was either an original band or it was a cover band, and everyone wanted to play shows, and just people met up at shows. That's just what you did on the weekend.
So what would you have to ask for, like $5 or something like that?
Yeah, we were doing $5 or $10 at the door.
Okay.
We had a little cash box with Band-Aids and cash and loonies and toonies and whatever we thought a band needed at that time. We would just like set up at the door and just, put an X on everyone's hand as they came in. And like, it was pretty informal, and everyone was hanging out with the bands the whole time. There wasn't like a lounge or anything like that, because it was just in a big empty open hall, and the PA was the PA, and everyone had half stacks, because if you were a real band, then your guitar players had half stack amps. So everyone's lugging those around, but we're young, we got the backs to do it, and everything's way too loud, but it was fun. It was a scene. It's what it was. But pretty much everything I learned about being in a band, and even just like managing events and fundraising and, a little bit of graphic design and promotions, all of that came from being in a high school band. Like I really attribute a lot of the soft skills that I have now, even in my professional museum career, of how to organize people, how to get things done, how to envision a project, how to get your peers to work well with you. Like all of that I learned from being in a band. It was really probably the best thing I could have been doing as a, other than doing drugs or alcohol as a teenager. So,
So when did you move to Michigan?
So I came here to go to Alma College in 2009. So I went to Alma College to study history and music. I joined the percussion ensemble and the marching band over there because I really wanted to learn the American marching style. We just don't have it in Canada. There's certain pockets where you can kind of find it, but we don't. I call it the big three. We don't have homecoming football and marching bands. And if you don't have one, then you kind of don't have the others. Right. They all go together. So I kind of wanted to experience that and learn the American marching corps style. I just was really fascinated by it. And it was a style I was just completely ignorant of. So I studied history, which is what I loved, and that's what ended up providing a career for me, luckily. But spent 4 years really doubling down on music too. I ended up minoring in music at Alma College, and a lot of the time I spent in the marching band and the percussion ensemble really honed me as a musician, and kind of again continued to teach me all those types of skills of like show up on time, show up early, and then you're on time. Don't come unprepared. If you come up to rehearsal unprepared, you will be shamed, and you'll never do it again. Like just all those little things of that kind of that rougher pedagogy that I think I really needed at that time in my life.
Did you have a band during that time period?
So Deny the Threat was still going through those first couple of years.
Over here?
Yeah. So we, with the band actually came over and shot a few music videos over here. We played a few shows.
Where were you playing?
Just in Elma.
Just in Elma?
Yeah,
Okay.
just for the college campus kind of thing.
Okay.
So I was just kind of going back and forth. So I was here in Michigan. Emmett was up in Toronto. Travis was still in the area, and our bass player at the time, Max, was at Humber College. So we were like all over the place. So we all basically would leave go to school for 4 months, come back, and then just show, and play as many shows as we could, and then we'd all leave for another semester. So we did that for about 2 years, and then it kind of ran out of steam. And then at that point, I was just kind of jamming with people. Obviously, I knew a lot of people at Alma that really wanted to jam. I ended up applying for a student housing. You could apply for student housing for like a themed house. So I got a bunch of people together for our senior year, and we applied for quote unquote music, or the Music College. Alma College Music Enthusiasts House. So it was the Acme House.
Nice. Wow.
And we got it. And so basically
what
we
year?
turned
What year?
that was my senior year. So 2012, 2013.
All right. Okay.
That's semester years. So and we just turned the whole studio or the whole house into a studio. So we all had our bedrooms, but like the living room and the dining room were all just like filled with drums and guitars and amps and pieces borrowed from the college for months at a time. And that's when I really got into recording too, because we set up the whole house as like a jam space and recording space. And I was really interested in getting more into recording so that I could learn how to do it better and communicate better to the recording artists that I was talking with and engineers and stuff like that. So I learned a lot of the essentials of recording during that time too, just recording jams. And I recorded a friend's album. There was these twins known as the Sherlocks, and they wanted to do a record. And I was like, I'll do it if you let me. And they were like, if you'll do it for free, we'll let you do it. And I said, okay. So it was kind of like an acoustic rock record, but their band name was No Shit on the Sherlocks because their last name was Sherlock. And yeah, so we had a good time. So I just recorded anything that anyone would let me and just jammed and played for like 2 years.
So you recorded it right in that living room area?
Mm-hmm. Yep. The living room was the live room, and the dining room was the control room, and we just put up blankets, and that was the separation. And,
wow.
And around that time too, I did join another band called Rainfall back in Ontario. So I started doing some like work with them, and then they asked me to join. So then we cut a record together. We did all the recording ourselves, and we did that for about 1.5 years, and then that kind of fizzled out. And then basically after that, I stopped being in bands. Like I just, I kind of oriented my life in terms of like, okay, I need like a career. I need to start doing things.
Did you did you take any museum courses in college?
Yeah. Not in college, no. So my undergrad was only in history, and then I took a year off just to kind of work and just do things. And then I worked part-time in my local museum at the Stratford Perth Museum. So that led me to know that museums was a career option. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those things, like you go to museums all the time and you never think, who works here?
Right.
I kind of started talking to those types of people and seeing what programs were out there. So then I went to the Peterborough, Ontario, which is about, 40 minutes north of Toronto. They're at Fleming College, their museum management curatorship program. So I did that for 1 year. And that pretty much taught me everything to do in terms of like how to work in a museum, the skills I needed and everything like that, followed by an internship at the Smithsonian that I did for the summer. So I moved to DC for 4 months and did an internship there. And after that, I came back to Michigan because my partner was here. So I moved back in with her, and then a couple months went by and I got a job at Applewood, and that's kind of where my like museum career really started. So
okay, and when you say Applewood, that is
in Flint, Michigan. So Applewood is the historic estate of Charles Stewart Mott, one of the founders of General Motors. So he actually built his home basically right off of downtown Flint in 1916. So for 5 years I was there, and I basically just took care of the house, took care of the artifacts, did the tour program, basically anything they'd let me do. I just dove in, and I was kind of just like the grunt on the ground because it was my first museum job, and I was just like eager for experience.
Is that where you met Sam Fitzpatrick?
I think so, yeah, through that network, yeah, because I joined like the Michigan Emerging Museums Professionals group, and I think I met Sam through that, and then I ended up getting on the board of the Whaley Historic House Museum, and so I think I met Sam kind of through those networks, yeah, when I was kind of really getting into the Michigan museum community. Okay,
did you work in Frankenmuth at all, or did I?
Yep. So I worked in Frankenmuth the last 3 years, so starting in 2021. Yeah, 21 through 24. I was the collections manager for the Frankenmuth Historical Association.
All right.
Yeah. I went through that last year.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite good. My dad's family's from that era.
Oh, nice.
Area.
Yeah.
and I just wanted to see it. And it's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's a very neat little museum. There's some really wonderful history and some wonderful artifacts over there. They're currently in a big exhibit renovation project, so I was really helping with that a lot too, and providing artifacts and interpretation for that as well. So yeah, no, it's a great little museum.
So, how did you end up getting involved with Sloan? Was that something you applied for, or?
Yep. And that was kind of just convenience of timing, really. I was quite happy at the Frankenmuth Historical Museum, but I was commuting from Grand Blanc, so that's a 40-minute, hour and a half daily commute, and gas just keeps going up. So we just bought our place in Grand Blanc, so the job just kind of got posted, and I was like, oh, I'd like to do that. That's 15 minutes away from me. And it's something I've just kind of been working towards, with my undergrad in history and then my postgrad in museum management and curatorship. I also have a master's in public administration focused in nonprofit management and social entrepreneurship. So it was kind of just the step up I was looking for. And I was looking to take on more responsibility and join a larger museum. So when the job opened, I applied. I went through a couple interviews, one of which was 3 hours long. And after all that, they said, "We like you. Would you like the job?" And I was like, "Yes, please."
Now, the Sloan really, the emphasis is on the automobile industry. Am I right on that?
It used to be. It's not so much anymore. I think that was definitely the initial conception of the Sloan Museum, because I think the original name for it when it was being built in the 70s was the Sloan Panorama of Transportation or something like that. And then they just dialed it back to the Sloan Museum. But now the Sloan Museum of Discovery is much more just Genesee County in general. There's still obviously a lot of artifacts, including actual cars, that are all related to the auto industry. There's a lot of artifacts related to Billy Durant, C.S. Mott, Whiting, and Sloan, and all these types of people that contributed to the auto industry. But I would say it's much broader than that. It's much more about the culture and history of Genesee County in general, which really kind of dates back to about 1819.
Is that the area that you're working in primarily as a curator?
Yes, yeah. So I'm pretty involved with, so I run the collections department. So everything we do with preservation of artifacts and exhibiting those artifacts, that's kind of my responsibility, as well as doing a lot of different interpretive elements. We're working with some AR components right now as well, augmented reality, and just all kinds of stuff. So I'm a little bit involved in anything artifact and history related over at the Sloan.
Have you ever heard of the Pontiac Transportation Museum?
No, I haven't.
In
No.
Pontiac, Michigan.
Oh, no. Tell me more.
It just opened this year, I think.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll have to go check
Anyway,
that out.
went through it 2-3 years ago. My brother got,
Very cool.
contacted
Yeah.
the guy when they were developing it. And anyway, it's stage 1 is done. They got like 2 more things to do to complete it, but it's very interesting, and it's about not just the Pontiac automobile, about anything that was built in Pontiac, Michigan.
Yeah,
Be it
yeah.
a buggy, a bicycle, a carriage.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, and we have some of that too, where we have a Hellcat tank destroyer in our collection because it was built by Buick. They pivoted during World War II, and they started making, machines of war. So the Hellcat tank destroyer is one of those things that we actually have in our collection, which is really neat. But I also always love hearing about a new museum that's popped up. I'll have to go there.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, very cool.
Now, we mentioned this when I gave you a little tour of the Robert and Ann Hatchell Theater here. Has the Sloan done anything with the connection between the automobile industry and the development of rock and roll in the state?
Not really, no. Not to my knowledge, at least.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many musicians that came to Michigan because of the good-paying jobs in the auto plants and brought their music with them. And I know, Fred, I was always surprised, that the people that you mentioned that you knew.
Dr. Ross.
Yeah, Dr. Ross. Arthur Gunter, wasn't he another one that?
Well, he lived in Port Huron.
Well, still
Pontiac,
still
Port Huron.
Michigan, though.
Right.
I don't know whether
Lazy Lester, Lightning Slim, all of them.
Well, of course, John Lee Hooker.
Right.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But Dr. Ross, being in Flint, he was one of the first Sun records, pre-Elvis. And, well, I got a whole book on that. But he lived in Flint and came up to work at General Motors, and always threatened me that he was going to retire, and he never did. And he died, passed out on the General Motors floor.
Oh, jeez.
Of a heart attack.
Oh.
Yeah, and Dr. Ross also, Cat Squirrel.
Oh, yeah,
He
that whole
recorded for
story.
Fortune Records, actually made the charts. Not too
Right.
often.
Well, he also recorded that at Sun.
Oh, okay. Originally at Sun.
Right. But Cream, the group Cream, and Jethro Tull, both of them recorded it, and on the record it says public domain or something like that. But Dr. Ross composed it. He wrote it.
Oh,
and,
jeez.
It's in the publishing.
Yeah. Fascinating.
So that's a Flint story.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
How did you come to join Fremont Pike?
Oh yeah. So yeah, the band I'm currently in is a pop punk band named Freemont Pike. I initially got asked to just be a fill-in drummer. So the band was formed somewhere around 2019 by Andy and Dylan, and it was kind of just like they went to high school together, and it was kind of just like a, hey, you want to start a band? Like, that would be fun. And so they did. And then it kind of snowballed from there, where they kind of kept adding members. So they had two vocalists. Andy did vocals and guitar. Dylan was just vocals. And then they added Brandon for lead guitar and Anthony for bass. And then they had a gig in about 2 years ago in December. And I knew Brandon from having lived in Midland. He actually worked with my partner, Carly. And he just hit me up on Facebook. He was like, hey, man, do you know anyone, or would you be interested in playing drums for a fill-in gig for this pop punk band? It's 5 songs. And I was like, yeah, send me the songs. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. I'd do this. And I had just been out of the band scene for a long time, so it kind of just seemed like a fun opportunity to play a show, because I used to play so much and I hadn't really in a number of years. So I did that filling gig and it went really well. They asked me back for a couple more gigs, and then just before we even played those gigs, Andy, the lead singer, just said, do you want to just be in the band? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So they asked me to join, and we did a live off the floor session that I recorded and filmed, because I was kind of doing portfolio pieces for a nonprofit idea that I wanted to start, but I needed like kind of proof of concept examples for that. So we did a live off the floor session called Live at the FTB House. FTB is a band called Fit the Bill. Which is kind of we're friend bands, and Fremont Pike was kind of born out of Fit the Bill in a sense. So we did that live session and it went really well. And then we didn't really have anything on the go. And I said, hey, we got some really good songs. Let's record these as an EP. And the band agreed. So I recorded our first EP. We did all the production ourselves, and it was a 5-song EP. And then I think that fall, we ended up doing a 3-song EP that we also recorded and then released the following year.
Where did you record these?
Just at my home studio. So at my house, I just have I have the basements in the drums in the basement, pardon me, to try to deaden the noise a little bit. But then upstairs, I have a spare room that I just converted into a studio. So I started doing that. And I had a few records already under my belt, because I started a project called Sons of Horace myself, which is I describe it as historical metalcore. Basically, it's just kind of like a metal band that's just me. It's a solo project, and all of the EPs are kind of centered around some sort of historical event. So I did one on just different historical revolutions. I did one on the Salem witch trials. I did one on the Egyptian canopic jars, and I'm doing one on historical, just like female badasses, basically, which I'm going to call the Heroine EP. So yeah, like they're very dorky and they're very silly, but the music is pretty kick-ass, if I do say so myself. So it helps me kind of flex my my kind of metal side of things, because I do everything myself and I just kind of pump it out. But I showed those to the guys and they were like, oh yeah, these are like pretty good. We could definitely record. So that's how that kind of relationship started. And then we just did some covers, some silly things. It's a very fun, silly band, honestly. We like to say we don't take ourselves seriously, but we do take the music seriously. Mm-hmm. So most recently, we just completed recording our first album, which will be LP1. We have 3 EPs under our belt that are all on Spotify. If you look up Freemont Pike,
Is that the way to get them? All digital?
all digital. Yeah.
No CDs, no vinyl.
No, we haven't done that yet. We're thinking about doing a vinyl press for the record.
Okay.
But for the EPs, I mean, they're 5 songs, 3 songs, 6 songs. So they're just pretty small. So everything's on Spotify. That's Fremont, FREMONT PIKE.
Is this specific to Spotify or is it DistroKid?
We put it on DistroKid, which pushes it to
So it's on everything.
Anything, yeah.
Do you use Bandcamp for your main portal?
We haven't been doing that. We've just been using DistroKid as the upload and distribution source. So Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, whatever you do to stream music, you'll be able to find us.
Okay.
And then a lot of music videos too.
And are you playing a lot too?
Talk to you about that.
Yep. We've been playing pretty much all summer. This past summer here in Bay City, we played Excellency Music Fest this year, and we also played it last year. Couple other festivals last year. We played Local Fest in Flint and Alley Fest in Flint. Both were a lot of fun. And then we play a lot in Detroit too. About half the guys are down in Detroit. So we're playing PJ's Lager House.
Okay.
We played PJ's a couple times. A couple of the lounges we've played. What's the one? The Sanctuary a couple times.
All right.
The Pike Room we've played a few times now too. Just kind of the general area.
Good for you.
Yeah. Cool. Making the rounds.
How long has this band been together then?
As this iteration, about 2 years now. Okay. So yeah, our
and the EPs all came out within the last 2 years. Then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So 3 EPs in the last couple
and
of
these
years.
videos that he was just about to.
Yep, and plenty of music videos too. I've been producing all of those as well. So we've been trying to pump it all out.
Right on.
Yeah, when we were looking and talking about maybe doing this Madonna documentary, Sam recommended you. And
Thanks,
so I
Sam.
went and I took a look at your videos, and I was knocked out by Detroit Girl. What a great video that
thank
was.
you.
I mean, really, really, it was funny and a great song. I'd highly recommend it to anybody here who hasn't taken a look at Detroit Girl. It's well worth checking out.
It's probably the best encapsulation of the band too. I think you learn everything you need to learn from that one music video.
Too. Yeah, it's really well done. Did you put together, I don't know if I'd call it a storyline, but was that your concept or was it everybody kind of joined in to...
Usually the way that process goes for our music videos is like I kind of put the kibosh on terms of like what is doable for free because I'm usually doing all the production myself and all the filming. So usually we just kind of like bat around ideas. We just have we organize everything on Google Drive. So everything we do has to go into Google Drive somewhere. And I'm usually the one that when anyone asks a question, I'm like, did you check the drive first? It's probably in there. So usually we'll just bat around ideas and we have a doc that just has like running ideas that everyone can kind of just dump. And then once we kind of hit an idea that everyone goes, oh, that's fun, then we kind of flesh it out a little bit. Usually then we discuss it and then I'll take the idea and then kind of like run it and see like logistically what is needed and what can we do. And then I'll bring it back to the band and say, okay, so we can do this, but we can't do this. If we have to do this, then we have to spend some money and then I kind of project manage it out from there. So Detroit Girl, I think was like hey, let's do a performance video in Detroit. Oh, we should do some sort of a storyline. Well, it's kind of a bit of a pandering song, like, cause it's all like, it's filled with references to Detroit and like, just things in Detroit. So we're like, well, what if we kind of like lean into the fact that we're sort of pandering with this song a little bit, but make fun of ourselves? What if we're all trying to like hit on some girl that's in Detroit, but they're smacking us down and like, dishing us around or anything like that. So that's how that was born. And then it was just a running doc of like, okay, how many different ways can we embarrass ourselves in front of women? It's like, you hit on her and she slaps you. You play a guitar solo for her and she does not care. You say hi and she curb stomps you. Like it was just all these ideas and we just picked the ones that we thought were the funniest and ran with it.
So were these girlfriends that are just acquaintances that you recruited here to be the girls?
No, that's the funniest story. So we Andy at the time was working as a teller at a bank in Grand Blanc, and he was talking to one of his coworkers and about being in a band and how we had this idea for a music video. And she goes, "Oh, well, my daughter's in theater school along with all of her friends. They would love to be in a music video." And we went, "Are you sure?" And they were like, "Yeah, no, that sounds fun." Then we were like, "Okay." So all of them were just friends of Andy's coworker's daughter. And all of them were just psyched to, it just sounded fun to them. So we, dressed them all in, Detroit sports swag, and everyone just showed up and we're like, "Okay, here's the scenario. Who does that sound fun to?" And they just raised their hand. And so we're like, "Who wants to slap Andy?" And just hand shot right in the air. We're like, "Okay, Olivia, you get to slap Andy." So Olivia, the one who slaps Andy, and is kind of in the middle of one of the walks. She is actually a musician in her own right. Her name is Olivia Delorso, and our third EP ended up being a split EP with her. So it's kind of funny. You just say yes, and then things kind of just keep happening. So we found out Olivia had like an acoustic guitar and was writing kind of these songs. So she brought them to me, and I produced 3 of her songs. I think we've done like 4 together now total, but our third EP ended up being a split EP with her because she had these songs that she wanted to put out, but kind of wanted to tie them to something. And it was like, okay, well, we can write just a couple extra songs, and now we got a 6-song EP. We did a cover in the middle that we both did together, and that's kind of how that worked out. So
yeah, you could tell that the girls in the video. I understand now that they seem so comfortable.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, people, you put a camera in front of people and sometimes they, kind of shy away.
Yeah.
But they were very comfortable in the whole kind. Well, that's what made the video work.
Yeah, because they're all actors. So
That's
they
right.
were kind of
Yeah,
just
exactly.
like in it for the experience. And it was kind of a conscious effort to subvert kind of a trope in most like music videos is like you have the sexy lady who's all scantily clad in the music video and the camera just lingers on her. We kind of wanted to invert that trope and like make fun of ourselves and have these just normal women wearing normal clothing just beating the crap out of us because we were being creepy and weird with them in the video, not in real life. We had a lot of conversations about, do you consent to this? Like, are you okay with this? Like, it was all really good. No, they were all really, really fun sports, and those have turned into lasting relationships too. I just saw one of them at the Renaissance Festival the other weekend, actually.
Oh, yeah. So are you producing anything new for the upcoming album?
Yep, we got a lot of ideas in the works. We're waiting for the mixes to come back, so everything's been tracked. We tracked pretty much everything. A little all over the place. So we ended up going with a producer. I produced and tracked everything for the 3 EPs, but for the LP, we brought in a producer, my good friend Alex Krotz, who's done a lot of amazing work in his own right in the field. And so we did a pre-production session with him first. We went to a cabin for 4 days and just wrote the album, basically. We brought demos and everything like that, but he was the one that really kind of turned those into like good songs. And then we had a month to leave and learn everything and then get our butts in the studio to record it. So then we recorded the whole thing in about a week and then let that sit for a little while and then went back and did vocals in a couple of different other studios, kind of just one at a time, piecemeal style. So now the album is tracked. We're just waiting on the mixes all to come back. And then kind of as they're coming back, we think we were originally going to like release the whole album, like a couple singles and then the album. Now we think we're going to like slow drip the album over time. So we're going to be putting music videos together for those. We also have an idea of doing like a 3-4 song, like acoustic EP on the side. So the album is going to be called Dog with a Job. So the EP will be called Dog with a Side Job. And then we might do a instrumental release, Dog with No Job.
Okay.
And just kind of make it like a whole branding out of the whole thing.
You guys have quite a following going on with this unique format? Or shows?
For how new we are, yeah.
Cool.
We seem to be getting a decent following.
It's a unique way of going about everything. It's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. I mean, like, most of our music videos are passing that 1K kind of threshold of moderate success. I think our most successful has hit like 6K on YouTube. We have quite a few songs on Spotify that are over the 1,000 like listens hump. I want to say we have something like 140 monthly listeners on Spotify.
Good for you.
Check the math on that. I don't actually.
No,
that's something
cool.
I check
You guys
regularly.
are starting to
so.
really ramp it up. And
Yeah. We're just trying to build on our
You're
momentum.
offering a lot of different versions of one thing
Yeah.
like you're hitting all the marketing.
Yeah, we're trying to, and we're getting into the TikTok thing a little bit more.
Okay.
Trying to do like music videos and, you know, keep up with our socials and stuff like that. It's hard because we find that with socials, like if we put too much effort in, it doesn't do very well. And the stuff that we just kind of go, that's funny, and post it, like it blows up and does super well. So it's like, I don't understand the algorithms. I don't pretend to understand the algorithms. Just if you're doing social media, do what feels right, and it's probably right. So we seem to be making some connections there. We've been making a lot of friends through different bands that we're playing with that are inviting us to do shows with them and stuff like that.
Have you had any bigger shows?
Yeah, I think the biggest show we've played is we opened for Jetty Bones is probably the biggest person we've opened for, but we've been talking with a few other bands to open for them as well. It's kind of where we're like living right now. We don't really want to like headline all that much or like headline a tour or anything like that.
So you're sticking to Michigan shows and trying to grab some good.
Yeah, we're just trying to build a following here and like work with people that are better than us so that they make us better. That was kind of the impetus for working with Chuck for the as a producer for the LP as opposed to me just doing it. But we're also trying to just leverage what we have. We've been trying to like not spend money if we don't have to, and you know, doing all our own production and all our own music videos and stuff like that really helps. But we're trying some other goopy stuff too. We have a band uniform now for the stage, so we all got custom made Freemont Pike baseball shirts with our names on the back and numbers and everything like that. So now that's our uniform for when we play, is we wear matching baseball shirts, and we also have hockey jerseys as well. So cool, leaning into the sports theme too. We love hockey, and you know, which is a bit of a contentious point because Andy is a Red Wings fan and I'm an Avalanche fan actually. So I'm in dangerous territory if we go too far down
Colorado.
Yeah,
And you're from Canada. You ought to be thinking.
Yeah, Montreal or Toronto.
So here's the thing is it's kind of, so yes, I'm from Ontario, but my dad is a Habs fan, a diehard Habs fan. So I was not allowed to like the Leafs growing up, and when I got into the Avalanche, they were like mostly Canadian. You had Joe Sakic and Patrick Waugh and Adam Foote, like. It was a stacked Canadian lineup. So my dad was like, yeah, this is fine. And let me be an Avalanche fan. And then like all of my closest friends have always turned out to be Detroit fans. So then it's a little contentious when we talk hockey.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, one of the things that I think impressed people the most about your video work in Great Affection is the drone footage you shot.
Thank you.
When did you start using a drone? I mean, you used it so effectively in that Madonna video.
Yeah, kind of just out of necessity, you know, like I started a production company that's just called Malcom Cottle Media, like 2016-ish. Originally it was called Gorilla Back Productions, and I did it with a photography partner, but then we just business-wise parted ways. I just wanted to focus on audio and video, and he wanted to just focus on different brandings of photography. So like we're still very close friends, but we just didn't want to brand together. So Malcom Cottle Media, like I do music videos for other clients. I just did a band out of Cleveland. I did a couple videos for them. And I do a lot of weddings, like a few weddings a year, and, you know, nonprofits and museum stuff and things like that. So like I kind of just got the drone because I thought it would look cool for weddings and just up that production value for wedding videography. And it worked. So I got like the cheapest one I could that could shoot 4K. And I just started playing with it, and it just felt very natural, and it worked. So, yeah, clients just love it. That's the thing is like everyone loves the drone footage. So I knew I had to do it at some point. I was waiting for a drone that wouldn't cost me an arm and a leg, but also would match my ground footage. I found that was the big challenge when I started getting into droning. But I really like the one I have right now because I also needed it to be fast, because with wedding videography, everything happens so quickly and it only happens once. Yeah. So I really needed a setup that didn't take me like 10 minutes to take out and do and get in the air. I needed to be able to pull it out of the bag, put it down, and get it in the air. So luckily I was able to find one that did that, and that kind of got me into the drone world. And now pretty much anything I do with like outdoor videography or anything like that, it's like, yeah, even if we don't need it, let's throw the drone in the air, see what it needs. And for this, since everything was so geography based and geographical, like it just made perfect sense to use the drone to kind of show the landscape of where these different locations were.
Clear. I mean, the picture is so clear too.
Oh, good.
It was awesome. Yeah. Wow.
Wonderful. And that, what led you to the Madonna one? Talk to us about that whole concept. Because
Yeah,
I think that's one of the main reasons we know about you is the
Yeah,
tie to Bay
absolutely.
City. Yeah.
Sure. Again, I think it was just through the production company. I was just doing work for, different folks. I've done some work for the Michigan Museums Association. And just, what if there's a client that, needs videography work, I'm pretty much down to clown, as long as I can deliver what you're asking for. Again, I'm independent too, so it's just what I can do. And I think you mentioned Sam kind of recommended me. So I had met Sam through a couple different museum related things, and he knew about the video work that I did. And obviously I have a website with a portfolio and YouTube and everything like that. So I really, most of my business is entirely word of mouth. I just rely on doing good work for my clients and hope that they have a good and positive enough experience with me that they recommend me to other people. And that's really how I came on board. So then I met Gary at a coffee shop, and we chatted about what you wanted to do. And we kind of came up with a couple different like pitches and ideas, I think, initially, and because it was going to be funding dependent and everything like that. But luckily, Bay County Historical got a sizable
grant,
sponsor grant.
Fabiano Brothers Incorporated.
Shout
we
out.
wouldn't have been able to do it without that grant. Was that the first a video about a music personality that you ever worked with?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was still within my wheel. I do a lot of talking head stuff, so I like a lot of the video work I do for nonprofits and museums is usually just like an interview setup and someone's explaining something. So this was different in terms of having like a narration and it be so music focused, which is why it felt really in my wheelhouse too, because it's just something I was naturally interested in. And it was kind of, talking about how we were taking this like sort of like online walking tour and making it, a video experience. So we went through a lot of conversations. I remember early on in pre-production of, okay, we should probably develop a script and we need to kind of keep the momentum going. Should it be a narration or an in-person like walk you around? And I've watched a lot of history documentaries in my times, and the ones I love the most are when some sort of charismatic person is taking you around and showing you things. And so there's this great one on British castles that I've been watching on Netflix, and the guy just gets so excited about British castles, and he like walks you through the archway and goes, "Look at what we have here." And I'm just like, "Yeah, castles." So we were working off that kind of premise of Sam being the host and kind of taking you around to these different ways, and then kind of at least introducing them in a physical way, and then cutting to B-roll of the location with voiceover that he did in my studio. And that's kind of how it all came together. It was a lot of work kind of because there was a lot of information, and we actually had to cut a few places, and we had to really cut the script down so that it was very targeted, which I know was a hard process at times of like,
certainly.
Oh, we can't cut this. It's like, but we got to cut something because it's too long. So.
And of course, we scored the film too, which was another.
That was a whole nother layer
yes.
onto it. Yeah.
Right. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. And
Trevor Edmonds working on that.
And that again, too, was just a lot of pre-production conversations, too. I remember we had a couple meetings of like, what do we want it to sound like? What do we want it to feel like? I have a copyright-free or royalty-free like website that I use for scoring all of my videography. So I grabbed a couple pieces from that and put them in the video in like an early cut and sent that to him. I'm like, this is kind of the vibe I'm going for. Don't feel like you need to do this, but just this is the vibe. And we went through the script, and I think I even like wrote for every single section, like, it should feel like this, it should do this, like, and then Trevor just kind of figured it out and made it work, and it really flows really nicely. It feels all very cohesive while still adding a lot of emotion, especially those couple sections where we go to City Hall and we talk about like the music really lands with everything Sam's talking about. And like that experience was so fun because I learned so much from doing the script and editing and putting it all together. And I found myself a bit of a Madonna apologist now, whereas I never really thought twice about Madonna, honestly, before this. And now I'm like, she got the wrong end of the deal. You just like put some respect on her name. Like, she was done dirty. Like, this isn't fair. Like, yeah, like now I go out to the world like, have you heard what they did to Madonna? And so
How long was that project as a whole?
That's a good question. We spent pretty much 2 to 3 months just in pre-production, doing the scripting, doing all of the like kind of because
last year.
Last year, yeah, sorry, last year. It was about 3 months of pre-production because like the script, we just had to have a solid script before we hit record. You know, I was really passionate about that. But once we got the script done, we did almost the entire filming in 2 days.
Oh,
We did almost the entire filming in 2 days. We just picked a weekend and we just boom, 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 boom.
Lucked out and had some beautiful weather.
We had
too.
beautiful weather.
Yeah.
It all worked out. Yeah. And again, I think that was only possible because we put so much time into the script and making sure it was like good. We laid out our path of like how we were going to do it. And then I think editing took about 2.5 months, which also kind of went into just scoring, kind of going back and forth. And then we had one location that we ended up adding. So eagle eye viewers will notice that Sam's beard disappears and reappears for one segment. So that was obviously the reshoot. We shot that a little later.
St. Laurent Brothers.
Yeah, the St. Laurent Brothers. So we added that in, and that wasn't a problem. That was like, a half a day of shooting just to add that one in. But yeah, pretty much the whole thing got shot in 2 days. Pre-pro was about 3 months. Editing, post-production was about 2.5 months. So I would say about a 6-month period to
is
get
it
the whole thing
available for everybody to see right now?
Well, it's being shown now at the museum, and this was conceived as a fundraiser for the museum. This is the whole idea behind this, and so the museum is asking people for a donation, but it's shown down at the Robert and Ann Hatchell Theater downstairs.
Here at the Bay County
Yeah.
Historical Museum.
So, and it's another thing, of course, trying to encourage people to come to the museum.
Yeah.
always.
But yeah, I thought, that the shoot went really well. We only had one incident.
Yeah, we did have one incident.
You guys were a little freaked out when I saw you. I don't know what, I had to do something in the morning, so I missed part of the shoot. But yeah, the gentleman at the house that Elsie Fortin lived in until the end of her life.
Her third house, yeah, right?
Yeah, well, right. Well, there were quite a few houses.
True.
Yeah, let's see. That would have been
The third. I think it's the third one in the
fourth
film.
one. Yeah, the fourth one in the film. Yeah, he was upset about Malcolm and Sam shooting. Well, you were there, so you can probably.
I don't want to relive it. No,
more than I.
no. I mean, like everything we were doing was like, we were on the sidewalk or on the street, just shooting like buildings or everything like that. So like everything was on the up and up. But he we had just finished, and he kind of came storming out, being like, what are you doing? Like, you can't do this. I was like, well, we can. We're on public property. But he was just really upset that we were filming, obviously, in front of his house, and made a lot of gestures one way or another. We were able to talk to him and explain what we were doing. His main issue was he thought we might be doing something to disparage the memory of Elsie Fortin or Madonna, and we were like, oh no, we're actually quite doing the opposite. Like, this is all about kind of setting the record straight and showing that it isn't what the old narrative is. And so he kind of came around to that. But yeah, he just stormed out of his house and was quite upset that we were filming on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
we weren't even right in front of the house. Like, the house was kind of like blurred out in the background, and we were across the street. And everything,
Well,
it's a matter of public
I called
record
him
anyway.
that night,
So yeah.
and he invited you guys over. He had calmed down by that
Yeah.
point, and he invited both you and Sam to come over for coffee and joints.
Yes. We never did take him up on that, did we?
Oh, it'd be basically
Coffee and
tradition right
joints.
there. Fred was there.
But surprisingly, that was really the only like kerfuffle we had. Everything else went so smoothly, and we got it all done, and got it all edited together, and then just had to find a lot of like B-roll and archival footage and stuff like that to kind of go back and fill in some of those gaps and things like that. And the editing, we had one way that it was supposed to be laid out, and we ended up kind of flipping it a lot too, because we found that in the edit a real narrative started kind of emerging of like, the order doesn't really make sense the way we have this. We need to kind of like flip it around. So I remember we had some conversations about that in post-production, but it all came together, and I'm really, really proud of it. It's on my resume as something that's been published.
Well.
So,
And I think there really needed to be, because there's so much misinformation still to this day about Madonna and Bay City, that at least, that there is a true statement And I think it really, the place where it should be is at the Historical Museum of Bay County, and that's where it is. So.
Agreed. Yeah.
Where does Madonna live now?
Well, I'm sure she lives all over the world. I mean, she's got,
I think
as
France.
far as I know, she
France or
still
something.
has a very big apartment in New York City.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Lived in New
But
York
I mean,
City.
I think she probably has a home in England, and I
LA.
think she spends a great deal of time in Portugal because her son wants to be a professional soccer player.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I
So
think
can you
he's
get
involved in
this-
some leagues over there.
So can you get this video to her somehow? Or?
Well,
I mean,
That's a
looking
great
for an
idea.
If you got an email, we'll send it.
yeah,
yeah,
there you
you
go.
know, and like I tried to explain this at, when we premiered it at the Delta Planetarium, the video wasn't really made for Madonna. I mean, Madonna lived this; she knows all this stuff, but it was
Well,
it was
yeah,
really made
but-
for Bay City. And if the word gets out and they're interested, that's fine. I mean, I haven't had a whole lot of luck talking to Mr. Ciccone when I bring up Bay City and trying to do something for Madonna, because he's been burned so many times by various people in Bay City that say they're going to do something and then they don't. So I don't know. And Mr. Ciccone now is probably about probably 90.
I just saw her birthday video for him on Instagram. Probably it was a month ago or so, and he was had a cane. And
Yeah, I mean he's
Yeah.
an elderly man,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I wouldn't.
I've had drinks with him up there. At
Yeah, I know
you
wine
said
yard.
you
He's,
had,
he's a
yeah.
really great guy. Talked about Bay City. Wants to
nice.
see how things are going.
Cool.
But I think the key would be to send that to her management and let them see if it filters through.
Yeah.
Does her daughter still go to U of M?
No, she's I would
Probably
assume
graduated.
graduated by now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any music going on in the Flint Museum that you work at?
Not really currently, no.
Nothing that touches on music there.
Not at present. The main reason being, so the Sloan Museum of Discovery got completely renovated in 2019, and then obviously things stalled through COVID, and then they reopened a couple of years ago with the brand new museum. So there's a whole science wing called the Discovery Labs there now. There's an early childhood development section, and then there's the history galleries that are all brand new as well. So they're all themed. There's a because they're in kind of sub galleries throughout the history gallery. So there's one on the original settlement and the original peoples, the Anishinaabe. There's a section on neighborhoods and the Fair Housing Ordinance, the out counties and the construction of the interstate, Flint at war, the Michigan School for the Deaf that's in Flint. There's a section on that. There's a section on lumbering, early automotive, with the carts and the transition from carriages to automotive industry, which is where Flint gets the surname Vehicle City. And then obviously on the Buick changes and the UAW and the sit-down strike, all of that is kind of highlighted through the history galleries. And then there's the Durant galleries that have the cars that are on display. So in terms of the vehicles within the Sloan collection, it's about around 130 vehicles or things of transportation, to say broadly, and about 15 cars are currently on display, and those are changing out about once a year. Certain cars get changed out once a year.
I
but
wasn't
there's-
sure because having music in this museum is such a beautiful thing that it makes me think. I haven't been to many museums, but each town, Flint has its own thing, I mean,
Yeah.
Detroit, wherever, and I don't know. I just wondered. I was curious what the heck.
Yeah,
'cause,
there's
you
definitely
got-
music to highlight. It's not currently highlighted, but we do a lot of temporary galleries exhibits as well. I'm working on a soapbox derby temporary exhibit right now as well. So we'll have smaller exhibits that just pop up for a short amount of time, and that in music or a music focus would be something that would come down the pipeline that way.
Excellent. Yeah, I know. Remember the Grand Funk thing in Flint. That was a big deal, and the Who at the Holiday Inn in Flint, throwing Keith Moon driving into the pool, the limousine into the pool, or Kiss in Flint, and there's so much.
Yeah, and
Well,
there's
the
still some
IMA.
IMA,
Well, that's Tom Cedarberg's footage, the only color footage of Buddy
Buddy
Holly
Holly, yeah.
ever performing live in the United States was shot at the IMA by Tom Cedarberg.
Well, WTAC was such a
WTAC.
big influence.
Oh, then what was it? Sherwood Forest, just outside of Flint and Davison. It's really a big concert venue there.
I was just curious because you have a great connection to music too, and I thought, maybe you can persuade more music going on there too, but
it's starting to creep back. I've noticed for a long time the only venue was really like the local 432, which is a nonprofit venue, and they aren't as operational as they once were. But you also have the Machine Shop, which is technically in Flint. It's in that like weird little between like Burton, Grand Blanc, and Flint, but they say Flint.
Capitol Theater.
Yeah, there's the Capitol Theater that's doing a lot of shows, and the Whiting is putting on a lot of shows. Not as much like super contemporary artists, but there's a lot of good stuff coming through the Capitol and the Whiting. As I said, the local is still putting on shows. There's a Machine Shop, but even smaller places are starting to offer shows, like Tenacity Brewing, the brewery in Flint, is doing shows. I've seen some really, really killer shows, actually, just very small, but like I saw some amazing musicians just play at Tenacity.
Was that the Capitol Theater that we went to see UB40? Yeah. You were there, Mike. Yeah, that's really a nice venue.
I love it. Yeah, no, it's really, really great.
Beautiful.
I
would.
Road Bar.
What's that?
Corona Road Bar.
Yeah, like a little, and that's what you kind of stopped seeing for a while, is like small bars willing to like host bands and stuff like that. But like Churchill's right downtown has been having live bands, usually cover bands, but they have had bands. And Soggy Bottom, my favorite restaurant in Flint, has been hosting bands that like I play with. Like Former Critics is a band we've played with a few times, and they're phenomenal.
Do they have an actual stage?
It's technically a stage. It is a higher point than the floor, and it's in the corner, but it's like one of those like window stages where it's like in the corner, and it's enough for a drum kit and everyone else to stand on their tiptoes on the edge, but it's a stage. And then every year we do a St. Paddy's Day pub crawl through Flint, and they always have a live band playing there on St. Paddy's Day, so that's always fun.
There's a lot of music around the Back to the Bricks time too, right?
Yeah. Usually they'll bring in like some bigger bands or stuff like that.
Cross of automotive and
everything. They shut down the whole downtown for that. Yep.
That's cool.
Do you know if they still have the Jazz Fest?
I don't think so, but that's not something usually on my radar, to be fair. So I don't know.
After Joe Fryer died.
I know they
think it ended.
Yeah, I know Soggy's has a jazz night every Thursday, I want to say, is they have a jazz band kind of just performing for the evening. So you can definitely still find some jazz in
well, it was
Flint,
huge.
Yeah.
In the 60s, 50s.
Mm-hmm.
That's wonderful hearing that the music's a little bit on the comeback in Flint.
I think so, yeah. You got to support your scene, though. You got to get out. You got to,
Oh, it's everywhere.
They won't bring bands back if there's no one there to buy a drink and listen.
You got 5 places around here that have music, and it's like hit and miss depending on the time of year, the time of weather, and the things that are going on. And just to build this, it's not like it used to be because everybody's got their phone in their hand now. So,
Yeah. And that's kind of where I've transitioned a little bit more to like the online platform, because it's a little bit easier. It's a more controlled environment. And, we do that with my nonprofit. We do it with the bands I'm in. Is like the online scene is kind of the new scene where everyone is kind of tapping in and kind of doing it at their leisure. And it's great, but it's different too. Like I still love the live in-person environment. There's just something about that moment when the sound tech like puts the mic in the kick drum and you hear okay, let's try kick, and he hits the kick drum and you just feel it in your chest, like that moment. You can't get that moment online. You got to be there in person when the drummer sound checks the kick drum, and it's too loud for the first 5 hits, but it's just, oh yeah, I'm about to watch a show.
That's awesome. Well, that's cool, man. Are you what's your outlook for the rest of the year into next year? You have a lot on your plate.
Yeah, I got enough. Fremont is going to be releasing singles.
Kind of like Attaboy, like you said at the start of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Fremont's going to be releasing singles that will lead up to an album. We're doing a few shows, always in the works. Sons of Horace has a record that's kind of on deck. I just got to do the vocals for it, and then it'll be out. That's kind of just.
So you sing for that band?
Well, I wouldn't call it singing.
That's a heavy band.
Yeah, it's metal, so I scream.
So I
do the hard vocals. Yeah.
All right.
Yep. So that's kind of just my personal music projects. I also do like drum covers every now and then too. So I got a couple lined up to do that and release those on YouTube. And obviously I'm still doing videography. So I just did a band in Cleveland. They released the main music video, and then I did 2 playthroughs for them as well. So those are on deck. The band is called Lux Terminus. They're a super, super duper cool, like prog fusion type band. But really, really neat stuff. So their music video, Mosaic Mind, is really, really awesome. It's a great track, and the video turned out really, really cool. So that just got released, and I'm really excited about that. I'll do a quick plug for my nonprofit if you don't mind. I actually also run a nonprofit called the Art of Music Project, which is a brand new nonprofit based here in Michigan. And basically what we do is we work with up and coming musicians to produce live off the floor sessions of their original music. So they'll do 3 or 4 songs, and what makes us kind of different is we want to curate the video production, the audio production, and the set design with the artist. Kind of think like NPR's Tiny Desk or Audio Tree. Yeah. That kind of thing, but what I don't like about it is it's all about NPR, and they just slot in the artist and it looks the same every time. We want to do a lot more curation with the artist so that they understand how the choices that they make with video, with lighting, with costuming, with color, with microphones, with the way everything is recorded, how that affects them and their sound and their artistic vision. So our nonprofit seeks grants that can help support us working with different musicians. Right now we have a grant in Flint through the Community Foundation to support 3 Flint artists that we're going to be doing in November. And we're really excited about that. And we have a portfolio and everything like that you can check out. So this year we've released a session video every other week for the entire year. So it's a really cool nonprofit.
So
we're doing some really cool stuff.
Where do you shoot these?
Wherever they are. That's the kind of neat thing is we don't have a studio. It's all about kind of putting the artist where they want to be. So we've shot a few Ontario artists. We've shot a few Michigan artists. These particular Flint sessions are going to be shot at Factory 2 because they've offered their spaces for us to use.
What is Factory 2?
So Factory 2 is a old GM factory. It's right across the street from Factory 1. Factory 1 is the original Durant Dort Carriage Company. So basically the company that became General Motors, essentially. So that's Factory 1. Factory 2 was a nonprofit initiative that was started by the C.S. Mott Foundation to basically create a placemaking space. So they do a lot of workshops and have like heavy machinery and things for people to make their own shirts and buttons and woodworking and all that kind of stuff. So they put on a lot of that type of stuff, but they also have just like empty spaces for other things. So we're going to be going in there.
Does it look like an old plant?
Yeah.
I mean, it has that atmosphere.
Yeah, because it literally is. Yeah. So that's
at the Hell's Half Mile Festival, the Saturday night showcase, which has 3 bands, one of which I would highly recommend to you. They're called Liquid Mike.
Ooh.
From Marquette, Michigan.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
They've got a new album out called Paul Bunyan's Slingshot.
Oh, cool.
Which, it's punk rock, but with getting. I mean, they've got hooks, a kind of thing I think you guys are doing to a certain extent in your band. But anyways, getting off the point here, it was held at the Jefferson Building.
Okay.
Which was an old, I think it was an old mill, and I don't know what all the different things it went through, storage place over the years.
Yeah.
And it really had a great atmosphere and Jefferson a great sound for the Saturday night show. So I was wondering if you had that kind of, I don't know if anybody would have shot a video at Jefferson Building. It would make for a great
look great.
video.
Yeah, it would be awesome.
No, absolutely, and that's what I mean. Like this, the Art of Music Project is always on the lookout for grants that can help us support these artists and do sessions with them. One Bay City band I would really love to work with is a band called Bring Your Best. We've played a couple shows with them, and they're just like really fun, awesome guys, pop punk. But yeah, we have a long list of prospects. So
check out the Jefferson Building.
Yeah,
if you're going to shoot them here in Bay City, I can't think of a better place.
That's Avram Golden.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Avram did a lot of the almost all the framing of the memorabilia we've got here.
Sick. Yeah.
In the Michigan Rock and Roll Legends Hall of Fame exhibit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all that to say, there's a lot of great creative projects on the go, along with a 9 to 5 at the Sloan, curating artifacts and exhibits over there. So.
And then you still make trucks back home to Ottawa?
To Ontario, yeah.
Ontario, I mean?
Yep. Actually,
How long is your trip?
about 3.5 hours.
That's not so
if
bad.
border isn't a pain in the butt,
Yeah,
in which case it turns to 4.5. It really just depends on the mood of the day. I'm actually going back this weekend because it's Canadian Thanksgiving on Monday, so I'll be going home and having Thanksgiving with the folks
Okay.
and the extended family this weekend. So,
And
There's
you're- and
still
it's-
a lot of paperwork for bands.
with
over
visas,
the border.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's probably now worse than ever. I know.
Oh, really?
I mentioned my friend Emmett's in the band Pew 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 out of Toronto, and when they tour the States, they got to plan it so far in advance, so they give themselves ample time to get the visas in and have all it ready and have an itemized gear list of everything they're bringing over and hand it to them so that there are no questions and all that. Yeah, it's a pain.
Yeah.
But I'm a dual citizen, so I just come and go as I please.
Cool. And you're north of Toronto, where you're heading home?
South of Toronto.
South of Toronto. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Stratford's kind of about 2 hours south of Toronto, 40 minutes away from
You
London.
go through Port Huron or Detroit?
Port Huron, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Blue Water Bridge, baby. That's
All right.
that's my bridge home.
Sweet. Well, this is a great story that you've brought to us.
awesome.
The whole
Oh, thank you.
Canadian and Michigan vision, and combining the museums and the music and the vibe, and this is a really unique take on stuff, and we haven't had anything like that. Plus, an updated, a newer band, metal band. We don't have many metal bands on here. Punk, power, pop, and modern stuff. And anyway, thank you for bringing your
My
stuff.
pleasure.
here.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
will say everything I've done with Sons of Horace has been in Michigan, ironically. So even though I'm Canadian, Sons of Horace is technically a Michigan band because everything's been done
sounds
here.
good.
So.
Well, websites are all out there for all those bands.
No, Fremont Pike has a website.
Yeah.
Sons of Horace is just kind of a project I do, but you'll
Okay.
find links to it on my website, malcomcottlemedia.com. So yeah, that's my website with kind of the hub of everything I'm doing creatively. Malcom Cottle, MALCOLM, COTTLEMEDIA.com. And then the Art of Music Project website is artofmusicproject.org.
And when did you start that?
We became a 501c3 last March, but the work had been starting obviously 2 years before that.
Beautiful.
So we really, so officially the Art of Music Project, or AMP, has only been out. AMP is our acronym, which I really
Cool.
love.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So, but we've only been like truly in public view for about a year now.
Well, thank you, Malcolm.
Yeah. Sounds like you're doing some great things.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, my pleasure. Oh, thanks for having me.
On behalf of our hosts, we would like to thank the Michigan Rock Legends Hall of Fame, our guests, and especially our listeners. The MMHP is found on the 989 network, as well as all familiar podcast hubs. Up-to-the-minute information, as well as Dr. J and Sir Fred's Michigan Music Songs of the Week, can be found on the MMHP's Facebook page, /MMHP989. You can connect with Scott at scottbakermusic.com, Dr. J at michiganrockandrolllegends.com, Sir Fred at fredrife.com, and Mr. Mike on YouTube as MRBTEE1.
And on behalf of Dr. J, Sir Fred, Mr. Mike, and myself, Scott Baker,